And then I'm going to talk about AI. It's a very interesting. What are the AI black boxes? I'm going to talk about that. If both of you can join anytime and ask me any questions here. Let me introduce you. What there is a black box is a very serious problem in healthcare. A lot of people didn't know that AI is a structural problem, not a technical problem. People think it's a technical problem. It's not. It is a structural means you cannot get rid of it. That's what it is. Structural you don't have access. So there is a four type different kind of boxes there. Unfortunately, the language itself is limited in the AI. When it in software engineers developed the AI, it is Navya, can you turn off your mute? Can you put mute some noise coming? So so that there's a four type of boxes. Technical box is the one that can be fixable. You can with the I'm going to show you how that can be fixable, and the feature that is not a problem. Structural problem, we cannot solve it. Computational reducibility is another problem. On the top of it, both of the all these problems multiply together. That's emergent plus. That is, I designed that aspect of the emergent plus behavior. These are the black boxes embedded in the artificial intelligence. Then I'm going to talk about one by one a little bit. So technical. Let me talk about a little bit of technical thing. Black box number one, the system is complex. For example, and but understandable with engineering tools. You can, with the time and the knowledge, we can solve the problem. One of the problem in the beginning days is recognizing the imaging processing. So that was a big problem actually in the beginning. That was a black box for a lot of times. But engineers and software engineers solved that problem. The problem through layers, edges, and then they came back with a very new mechanism of finding the detecting a cat, for example. If there is a cat there, how do you find a cat? So how the computer can tell it is a cat? So that's very difficult actually. So what they found out is they found a system, wonderful system. They found a technology. They found it in the artificial AI, wonderful advance in AI that actually led to the cancer detection. In fact, it can detect. So that is where the detecting the cat is the same as almost the same technology they use for the detecting cancers, lung cancer, for example. What still is a puzzling, and there's still a long way to go, but it is solvable. One of the problems is that the location of the tumor, still AI is having a problem. The mapping algorithms are coming in. They're taking time a little bit, but it's going to solve this problem. So technical problems are solvable. It may take some time, but the cancer is improving day by day. So it's an amazing advances going on in the AI in that direction. So, but the other, this is a black box number two. Inputs are known, outputs are known, but you don't know what is the inner workings of inside of it. Like, you don't know what is going on inside. For example, you can visualize your mother-in-law or your grandmother in the brain, but if you open the brain, you cannot see the picture of your grandmother. The reason is that you cannot see because that is a structural problem. We don't know where that came from. It is input we know, output we know. The protein folding is actually the alpha fold. The Google got the Nobel Prize for all those guys. They got this Nobel Prize for the protein folding. They don't know how it came out, but they came out a generalized formula. AI kicked out a formula. That is a little concern to the doctors because they don't know the inner workings. They have this problem of inner working knowledge is a big problem there. So they don't know the mechanisms how we derived that kind of a protein folding generalized formula. So it is a very revolutionary idea that came out through AI, but we don't know there's a black box there that is not solvable. You cannot reach. You cannot. There is no way you can. There's a structural limitations you have, so you cannot solve that. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, okay, that's
Yeah.
something is black box number two. It
Number
is
three.
a three. Black box number two. Let me talk about the. Oh, black box number two is in black box number three. I'm going to talk about it. This is 3 or 2. I cannot see it.
We just did 2. Move to 3.
The more to 3. Okay. Thank you.
There we go.
Okay. Blockbacks number 3 is the uncertain. So you don't know the we cannot fully predict the results until computation is done. Irreducible computational complexity. That means you cannot predict until computation. Only after the computation simulation is done, you can predict the cancer or can, for example, hospital infection rate, how the hospital spreads infection. You cannot predict in advance. There is a limit, structural limit. There is no way you can predict because the structural problem there, because that is unknown for us. The complexity is too big, and then hospital infection spreading is one of the black boxes. We cannot solve it. There is no way by improving the technology you cannot solve it. This is the hospital infection spread is the prime example of that one. Actually, COVID-19 is another example. You cannot predict where the COVID went on. India, it moved from different places to rapidly in Delhi, and then it killed a lot of people in particular areas. But that is we cannot predict. That is a black box itself. It is a structural limitations on the is not a better tools or is not a better knowledge will not solve the problem. That is a structural black box. You cannot reach that the exact way how it spreads. So that is the last black box. Number 4 is the combination of all three. All three is that the last two of them is more important. Did I move to the black box number 4? I can't see it.
Yes. We're
Susan?
on 4. We're on 4.
Yeah.
The black box number 4 is the emergent plus. It is not, you don't know the input. You know the input, you don't know the output, you don't know the inner workings, but you don't know the output until it computes. It's both a double whammy. You don't know the inner workings, you don't know until it computes completion of the computation, you will not know the final result. So it's a double whammy. That is one of the things. That's what they said. Here is a physician intuition comes in the picture. When they see, Susan can tell me about this. When they see somebody is going on a septic shock, for example, physician he can tell, hey, this patient is going to go septic shock. Or nurses can detect that. Their intuition is not by, you cannot detect from his brain, from the vital signs, from everything that all the data, you cannot detect that he's going to the septic shock. It is a pure intuition. It is something mysterious in that sense. Emergent plus is. So that is still you need a physician to judgment on the final thing. That is emergent plus is a complex, irreducible complexity of a computational complexity plus inner workings are not known. That's both combined them is called emergent plus. That I coined as an emergent plus is an emergence. It is you don't know it evolves with the time. So we do not know. That is a kind of a concern because bioterrorism and all the other things, some of the viruses can come back, good and bad. It is a very powerful tool. So we need to watch out the black boxes a little bit more. So this is the so yeah, I can 5 risk of AI. I can tell you one is the bias itself. There is inherent bias in the system itself. There is a if the data is inherently biased, it just feeds the bias itself. So AI doesn't know there is a bias there. Then can you read the second one? I cannot read much here. I have a small
False confidence.
false confidence. This is actually last month a new piece of paper came out in the Nature magazine. It is called false confidence. AI can deceive, can give you a noise. It detects. It is a shifting. They call it as a interpretation drift. It is called. It's a Nature magazine is a very prestigious magazine published last month itself. AI can give you false confidence. It is a very, it got to be watch out. That's why we need the doctors. It can give on the cases of edge cases that they can give a false confidence and give a wrong treatment and all those things. So you got to be very careful about the AI. Just you cannot you cannot slap in everywhere that you can get in. So what is the third one? What is the third one, Susan?
Hidden failure modes.
Hidden failure mode. That is a uh, hidden failure mode is that's the same thing as the data noises. Data noise amplified the data noises. That is a it hides the reasonings sometimes from the top. So the reasoning is actually not related to the final judgment of the reasoning. So I think the noise can somehow take over place. That's a hidden failure of the reasoning itself in the hidden. So that is, you got to be very careful. The last one
Lack
is accountability, right?
lack of explainability and accountability gap are the
Yeah,
last two.
totally get. This is the little bit of who is going to be responsible. There is a black box itself. Is a doctor is responsible? Is a hospital is responsible? AI, the company who produced the AI is responsible, or software engineer is developer responsible? That's a black box itself.
Yeah.
And then the lawyers have the problem because they're asking, demanding patent. What do you patent? You don't know what is inside. How can you patent something that you don't know? So that is a late patent laws coming in the picture now. That is a so I think the where you cannot replace the clinical staff like doctors and people like Susan cannot be replaced because it is the final judgment is at their mercy, and then we need to have them because we have a long way. There is a structural problems there in AI that you cannot just randomly just put in and then make it work. So there is a lot of structural AI. That doesn't mean AI is very powerful. AI can do wonderful algorithms. It can help you, but blindly saying that just blindly believe it, AI can replace doctors is a nonsense talk in my view. It can replace clinical staff. That judgment is a long way from that judgment. So in my view, so we have actually you cannot responsibility cannot be outsourced to a machine. Responsibility does not move out of the same speed as the AI technology. So we need to be very careful about the responsibilities of here, and the doctor and clinical staff are more responsible, and then we need to give them. So this is a AI fail set. Where are the structural mystery? That is the AI fails at. But where the AI's gaps are? Structural mystery. That black box I was talking about, structural thing, is a computational complexity. Because computations are so complex sometimes. You cannot, until you finish the computation, you cannot tell the result. Must compute, must output, and must optimize. It is only looking for three things: compute, output, optimize. That's all the AI is looking for. It doesn't look for safety and other things. If you want to look at the patient safety, you have to depend on the clinicians. Pause. They can contextualize all the background, refuse some treatments. It's not, if you are 95 years old, you don't want to put them in the surgery. Even the AI suggests you. So care and then take responsibility. That is the clinicians play a significant role in this direction. Thank you for watching. That's why MedBricks Predictor, I create a platform that can tell you that it is AI can implement it, whether with the care capacity. When you implement the AI, whether you're going to improve the quantify, you can improve the care capacity, or you're going to increase the care or decrease the care. So increase the noise. AI can, if you're not careful, AI can increase the noise quite a bit if you're not careful. But it can be very powerful also. It can help you. So that is I created some measurement index, healing index, and care per joule, energy of the system. I put into the system. You can do these kind of things. Then my system will predict this kind